and welcome to Borgcast Lower Decks 4.2 with Anne-Marie and Peter.
Hello!
So we have some previously on Borgcast fucking Voyager.
Yeah! As it's now been called.
Yeah. And Martin writes, having watched this now, wow, that ending is fucking brutal.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Tuvix is marched by Death Squad to the med lab. Janeway shows zero emotion, and the credits roll before anyone can say anything or even think about what they've done.
I don't have the skills to do this. If somebody does, that would be amazing. Put that last few seconds of Voyager where she marches out of sickbay and put on the sound of the Darth Vader march. That would sum it all up quite nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have any other Voyager?
We do. We have some recorded from the Llama God.
Lammerslag, Scotty, fix care, Shack, quick jig. There are things I said I would never do. Now, it's been some time since I've watched an episode of Star Trek Voyager, and when I watched that one, I kind of swore to myself that I would not ever watch an episode of Star Trek Voyager again. And then I listened to your podcast covering Tuvix last time and realised that I'd made exactly the right decision. So, yeah, I didn't watch that episode either. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for taking that bullet, thank you for covering that episode for us, and see you with feedback for the Lower Decks episode.
Nice.
Yeah, you made the right decision. I didn't.
Watching one episode of Voyager so you didn't have to. We'll make no greater claim than that.
Yeah.
It could affect our marriage. Anyway, on to tonight's episode, which is...
Moopsie.
No, it's I have no bones, yet I must flee. But to be honest,
Moopsie.
would have been a better title.
would.
I can't help feeling.
What, is the title a play on words or something?
Well, I have no bones because it eats bones. Apparently, it's a parody of a Harlan Ellison short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which sounds like something by Garth Marenghi, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blood. 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 And bits of sick.
Ellison would probably have sued if he wasn't busy being dead, so they get off lightly, I guess.
Fair enough.
Moopsie.
Oh, the Moopsie is free!
Oh no, your cuddliest prisoner is loose. Whatever shall we do?
You don't understand! Everything here is incredibly dangerous!
Moopsie.
Can't be worse than the swamp gobblers. Of course it's worse! They only gobble you. The Moopsie drinks your bones!
How does something drink bones? Holy
Run! Run for your lives!
So your teaser is totally different. It's
Yes.
following on from the end of the previous episode.
Yes, but with Romulans.
Yeah, so
Yes!
a Romulan ship decloaks, and there's this line, or there's always a mess when they've tortured a Reman, which I like, and then they're both talking about betraying the sub-commander.
Oh, and the torture chair.
Yeah.
Did you recognise it?
Is it the one from Enterprise?
No, it's the one that Geordie was tortured in The Mind's Eye,
Oh, okay. Wow.
which is the one which is a remake of Manchurian Candidate,
Right.
which we saw not so
Yes.
long ago. It was an amazing film.
Yeah. So then the ship appears, and it's like, why is this ship in our way? And then suddenly their shields don't work, and
And this is a Romulan ship design I'm sure
I don't think we've
we've
seen
seen before, but it's really good because it
like
fits.
it. Yeah.
It's got, it's kind of like the Dederics, but on its side and smaller.
Yeah.
I just love it. I mean, it's a shame they never did that in TNG instead of just Dederics after Dederics, which is all we ever saw, the occasional
Scout
tiny
ship.
scout ship.
Yeah.
This is much better.
yeah, it's cool.
All credit to Lower Decks.
But then
Doing
it blows
Romulans
up.
properly.
But yeah, then it gets kablooed.
It does rather, yes.
Yeah, that's your teaser.
Yes.
And then you open after the teaser with Lower Decks, with Shax and Ransom revisiting the awful leotards and exercises that we used to have with Crusher and Troy.
Yeah, specifically in the episode The Price. Oh boy. I mean, they didn't look great on Troy and Crusher, but... Oh!
And Shax is saying that his relationship with Ta'ana is in trouble. 1 minute, she's all over him, and the next he's being too clingy. And then Ransom says that Mariner won't be his problem for long, which she overhears. And then after they're doing these exercises, I can't remember which one of them it is, but it says hot fudge Sundays after.
That's Ransom, yeah.
Which again is a very
Troy
thing. I mean, then you get the lower deckers having a conversation, and Ransom's like, "Yeah, I'm going to sabotage this because if I get demoted, it's going to be on my own terms. Clearly, he's not going to keep me at this rank for long." And I like the line she says that the brain is the only part of his body that he doesn't work out. But I get it. She thinks that her promotion is going, so it's going to go. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen on her own terms.
Yeah, that it's very Mariner, basically.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's right, but I think
no.
it's
It's Mariner logic, and it stands up.
Yeah.
If you're Mariner.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rutherford says he's going to get a promotion so that he can be with them, and then Mariner turns up in just like shorts and sweat top to this mission where she gets to meet Ensign Gary.
Yes, Gary.
And they've got to go to rescue some humans that have been stuck in a menagerie. And I love the way they talk about it. It's like, it happens all the time.
Well, it does. That's the weird thing. And I hadn't clocked just how many times we've had menageries in Trek. Because as well as the obvious original series pilot then gets revisited for the two-parter, we have one to look forward to in the animated series.
Okay.
And, of course, we have the Kivas Farjo collection in the Next Generation as well. So, yeah, it's a plot device that keeps coming up.
Oh, fair enough. I don't remember a menagerie in DS9 though.
No, I think DS9 is always the outlier, isn't it? You very rarely get standard Starship. I bet there was one in Voyager that we don't even remember because
don't care.
We've already established what we think of Voyager.
Yeah. And so they're off to rescue these humans. Meanwhile, you've got Boimler going into his new rooms, which is right by the nacelles, bright red.
Yeah, I love that because that design of ship, that window's looking right at it.
And it's making a noise as well.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a bit of self-mockery at the silly design of the Cerritos, because it doesn't make any sense really when you look at it. I mean,
no.
There is a workaround for it, thankfully, but yeah, it did make me laugh.
Meanwhile, Mariner is being told to land the ship, the shuttle, nice and easy, so she goes for extreme, which did remind me of that episode of Red Dwarf.
Well, practically every episode of Red Dwarf, the way she landed that shuttle, yes.
There's one, isn't there, where it all screeches along the...
There is more than one, dear. It's a regular occurrence.
Fine. But it made me think of Red Dwarf. And then the ensign sort of gets thrown around everywhere and then says he needs to replicate some new pants. But Ransom doesn't rise to it. He's just sort of excellent piloting.
He's a new man. Yeah.
Yes. So then they go and meet... What I can only describe is it Lars the Banana? What is he?
No, she's called, and he is Bananaman.
This is 29 Acacia Road, and this is Eric, the schoolboy who leads an amazing double life. For when Eric eats a banana, an amazing transformation occurs. Eric is Bananaman, ever alert for the call to action.
So was he originally
For
Eric?
people of a certain age. Yes, exactly, mild-mannered Eric. Man, that was a great series. We had some wonderful cartoons back in our day, didn't we?
Yeah.
And also Ulysses 31. Anyway.
Was Bananaman the racist one? With the Italian mafia crow, or was that Danger Mouse?
No, that was Danger Mouse. Yes. That was mildly racist, but not too bad.
Well, the idea that if you're an Italian...
therefore, yeah.
Yeah.
But to be fair, there are quite a few mafia people in Italy. I mean, it's kind of where it came from, unless you want to be specific and say Sicily. But, so I don't think it was completely unfair, particularly considering it came out just after The Godfather. So you're going to get that,
That's probably what they gave them the idea then. Fair enough. So who were the villains in Bananaman then?
It was Texas Pete. No, that was
Super Ted.
Sugar.
I
think it was probably Villain of the Week, but
when Eric eats a banana, amazing transformation.
I think they had different villains every week. I don't think it was a reoccurring one like Super Ted.
I don't know. I don't remember who any of the characters are.
Let's cover it next on Borgcast Galactic. Doesn't really fit, does it?
No.
But it was the goodies. That's the amazing thing. It was all three goodies voicing it.
It was great fun. I remember really enjoying it. It was on a Saturday morning.
And didn't he crop up in the Dandy or one of those old Fleetway publications on a weekly basis? Yeah, I think so.
But anyway, it was... And he sort of crawled across the sky, didn't he?
Yes, it's rather than like flying like Superman, he kind of swam through the sky. Anyway, if you've not experienced Bananaman, hopefully there's some on YouTube, and I do recommend it because it's a thing.
Yeah, if there is, put a link up on the Facebook group.
I might even put it in the show notes if I'm,
with it enough
when I edit this.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, as well as meeting Lars the banana, who says he has difficulty telling... What is it he
Telling
says?
between bipeds or some such.
Yeah, something like it's like non-botanicals. That's it. Non-botanicals apart. You get to meet Moopsie. Who looks a bit like... The face is a bit like an axolotl, but it's more sort of... It's not aquatic. It's got like paws and stuff. It's very cute.
It is. It reminded me of the adipose from Doctor Who. It's that level of cuteness.
Yeah.
And that level of villainy as well.
Yeah.
There are various reoccurring creatures, most of which I must admit I didn't pick up on. The only one that really hit me in the face was the Aldebaran serpent. The serpent is sort of three-headed with a big ball that's glowing. Did you notice that? Which is from... Is it Hide and Q? Yeah, it's Hide and Q. Next Generation Season 1.
Wow. Sorry, I'm not going to get those sort of callbacks.
The others were even more... obscure because I didn't spot them until I went on Memory Alpha and went, oh right, is that right? Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Fair enough.
And literally some I read on, I've watched this episode twice since reading the notes and have not spotted them, so Guy, wow. Yes.
Okay. I was intrigued by the sort of dragony things flying up the
Yeah,
wall.
now we've had those in previous Lower Decks, aren't they, from where Billups comes from? Possibly. It's definitely in a previous Lower Decks episode. It may well have been that one. Okay. Again, Memory Alpha will be your friend for telling you exactly what episode they come from and possibly know what second of the episode they appear in as well.
Yeah. So you then have a argument/discussion where, because it's part of her kiboshing her promotion, Mariner starts challenging Nars the banana on the whole concept of zoos. And he's like, no, it's not a prison. I'm looking after these creatures. And she's like, no, it is a prison. And it's like, yeah... I get that people might see zoos as prisons, but in a lot of cases, not every case, but in a lot of cases, captive breeding is the only way we can...
It's fine when they do, like, howlets. So they bred out elephants whilst they're endangered, and now they're not. They're releasing them.
Yeah. Not into Kent.
Yeah. Say, Marjorie, there's an elephant on the lawn. Let me get my blunderbuss. Oh, they're endangered again. Welcome to Reform Country. Anyway, where were we?
The pros and cons of zoos.
Yes.
When zoos first started, they were known as collections or menageries. Indeed, there was one in the Tower of London where there was a lion that got out quite regularly. And they were just for show and in very, very
tiny thing. And in unfortunately, some places of the world, that is still the case as well.
Whereas, certainly in the UK, and certainly also in, for example, Germany, because I know that a lot of UK and German zoos do sort of a part of joint breeding programs. The idea is you're saving these species and that you're therefore trying as best you can to replicate the natural habitat and provide enrichment and everything else with a view to the species going back, even if those individuals don't.
Yes.
And then I don't know quite at what point this happened, so if I've missed something out I apologise, but I was just so taken by the whole thing with Ensign Livick.
Yes.
And
Livick.
Rutherford and him just forever. So Rutherford wants to get this promotion, bless him.
The nicest guy in Starfleet suddenly has a nemesis.
and he wants this promotion, bless him, and he's just like, he does something at 0.5 and Livick does it at 0.6 and he does something else and Livick does...
Yeah, the way this is solved is just so stupid, but so Lower Decks, yeah. Anyways, one of the things that Livick does is increase the impulse drive, is it?
Something like that, and it looks like he's going to zap Boimler.
Yeah, it makes Boimler's room even more blinding. Moopsie gets 3 on the station, and it turns out it's one of the deadliest creatures in the universe, drinking your bones. We see Rutherford working on our old friends, the Tucker Tubes. Hooray! Oh, come on. Don't look at me blankly.
You mean the prop?
The prop we see in every episode, yes.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
That's because it was an episode of Enterprise, it got those names.
Right.
Tucker being...
Yes.
Yes, there we are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it didn't start in Enterprise, though.
Oh, no, we've been seeing this...
It's in Next Gen.
Rafa Khan.
Oh, wow, that
I think
far
might
back.
be the oldest one, yes.
Because it's definitely in Next Gen,
as
well as DS9.
Yeah. It was a prop for hire at one point, so it wasn't actually owned by Paramount. They just hired it, but they hired it so many times.
So is it in non-Star Trek stuff, then?
Yes, it is. There's several films it's in. It won't work if you Google Tucker Tubes. I don't know how it will work, but anyway, those tubes from Rafa Khan, if you do something like that, it'll come up. And yes, it's in an awful lot of films.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Livick has managed to wire up a third tube, naming it the Billup Tubes, like the kiss ass he is. The chief engineer admits he doesn't know what they use them for, which is a nice touch.
I love that.
Shax helps Boimler move into some new quarters, and then meets up with Ta'ana for some Robin Hood frolics in the holodeck.
Very next gen again, isn't it?
Yeah. And Boimler can hear everything, including the holodeck on the other side of his new quarters, where Captain Freeman is making a speech.
As if she's the president of the Star Trek or
Federation.
Federation, yeah.
Yes. I mean, clearly the lack of soundproofing is mad, but this is Lower Decks logic.
But I love the fact he comments, why is there a crew quarters between two holodecks?
Mariner confronts Ransom with the charge that he's out to get her, but he was saying that he wasn't going to give in to her attempts to manipulating him into getting her demoted again. I mean, I guess that might make some sense to somebody, but again, Lower Decks logic.
Yeah.
The blame turns on Narge for the Moopsie freeing, just as the killer gets into where they're hiding, gobbling Narge's ossified bones. They shut it in, but where it's been locked in is the station's control room, leading to the station falling out of orbit. Boimler has resorted to sleeping in a Jeffries tube, but is disturbed by Rutherford seeking to make promotion-grabbing improvements, but behind Levick once more. Inspired, Ransom orders Mariner to punch him in the face, repeatedly, dislodging tasty teeth. This doesn't technically work because apparently teeth aren't bone, but there we go.
Well, it depends why it drinks the bones. If it wants the calcium, there's a lot of calcium in teeth.
Levick is about to get the promotion. The pin is nearly on his collar, but having learned Rutherford turned it down a bunch of promotions for his heroic deeds, Tenny gets Billups to promote her friend instead.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the paperwork for that works out, but again, Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Moopsie follows the trail of teeth, which leads to her enclosure, and Mariner shuts the door. Turns out it was the imprisoned humans that set it free, planning to kill Narge and run the profitable station for themselves. And we see some of the fish people from Next Generation's Manhunt as well.
Oh, the Fleetwood Mac one?
Yes, that's right. Mick Fleetwood gets another appearance.
Isn't he dead now?
I believe so. From Beyond the Grave. Oh, there you go. So Anna gives Ransom some new teeth before heading off to kill the sheriff of Nottingham for being a little face.
Yeah, I love that. But the new teeth are so big, and I love the way they've made them far too big, and he talks slightly differently.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to keep up with the rest of the season with this, but it would be good if they had, I think. Anyway, the second officer and Mariner make peace. Rutherford and Boimler end up sharing a room,
I thought he's first officer.
What did I call him?
Second officer.
Oh, I should have called him first officer. You're quite right. Rutherford and Boimler end up sharing a room with another one bathed with red light from the nacelle. But
I think it's the original one. I think it's the idea it's the same one.
Anyway, the engineer just activates a filter and then works on the same mini tractor beam that Wesley put together in Next Generation's Naked Now. Did you notice that one?
No, why am I going to remember what the fuck Wesley was making in the Naked Now? All I'm going to remember is that I wish he was fucking dead.
Well, that's going to make us think of the Black Dog, if nothing else. Anyway.
Yes.
Shut up, Wesley.
Well, it's nice to see Mariner and Ransom bonding. Moopsie is the star of this episode, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And the source of most of the fun. And I'd be amazed if we do not see this creature again. Because, wow, if they were doing Lower Decks figures, and I'm amazed they're not. I don't think I've seen any. But if they were, you'd get a Moopsie, wouldn't you? I mean, and cuddly Moopsies for that matter as well. Who's knitted a Moopsie? Come on, own up. Anyway, seeing Ransom and Shax in Troy and Crusher's leotards was worth the price of admission alone.
Oh, that
to be
was
honest.
amazing.
And again, the laugh per minute count is so much more up in this season.
Yeah.
I think they've made a real effort to increase the laughter count, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And how long before Tana says...
Yeah. I don't think it's... Well, I don't know, it's more...
They bleep everything out except for the first letter, and I guess even that probably they can't get away with, unfortunately, on US TV.
Yeah, because it's not as rude in the UK as it is in the US.
I fully know that, yes, but I
to be fair,
give them massive props if they did.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't stop me bloody saying it.
It would stop you being on US TV, though.
Yeah.
Although quite what TV show that would be is another matter.
Fuck no.
Amory sets things straight.
Oh, I don't know.
Let us not dwell on American politics.
No.
Anyway, oh boy, yeah, brilliant. What can I say? Another brilliant episode. The quality level so far is so good.
This is one of my favourite episodes of Lower Decks. I love this one. And in fact, Quinn doesn't always watch Lower Decks with us because they watch it with part of the original run.
Yes, they watched it the first time round.
They don't necessarily watch it the second
but they're not
round.
big fans like us. But when I just showed them the picture of Moops, he was like, "Oh yes, I'm watching that one."
Moopsie.
Maybe we should suggest that that's Quinn's next tattoo.
Well, it would go with the massive seal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Chonk the seal, yeah.
Yes. Right, well, what do people think? Jeffrey Mark Hyman has this to say: I'm still mildly astounded at how much character development they managed to fit into this wonderfully silly show.
Yeah.
Which is true, because Mariner, is continuing to go
And
on a journey.
Ransom.
And indeed Ransom, yes. They're quite the pair, aren't they? Yeah, and the whole Rutherford business as well completely fits his character. And the fact that it's just a throwaway thing at the end. Oh, yeah, I've been offered loads of promotions. What?
Yeah.
And I love the fact he gets a nemesis as well.
Yeah,
That's
brilliant.
We've also heard from the Llama God, again, I think.
Llama God's Log Supplemental. So we're shaping up and working out. Here we are then, once again, with Lower Decks showing us that it is possibly the best Trek on TV at the moment. We've got an episode here with some crazy and interesting sci-fi concepts, some good drama, some threats, some thrills, and some really good character moments. So, yeah, this is really great stuff here. The Mariner strand is great. I love how it all starts off with Shax and Ransom doing aerobics, wearing those infamous costumes from that episode of Next Generation. And not only is it funny, it's also actually nice to see that costumes aren't limited to genders, as we had with the scants in early Next Generation. So that's a real throwback to that. So, yeah, good to see that. We'll see some more of that, thank you. But yeah, the whole Mariner situation with her thinking that Ransom's out to get her, and actually, well, yes, he is out to get her, but he's out to get her from getting herself. So, yeah, that actually shows a lot of growth on Ransom's part. It shows how much their relationship has progressed, and yeah, it shows a lot about Mariner as well. So, yeah, that was really great to see. And as well as that, the actual storyline set on the space station is really great. The Moopsie is a great invention. I mean, a creature that can drink bones. Yeah, that's a crazy idea. It's a sci-fi idea. And it's also one that can only really probably be done justice in animation. I think live action would be too difficult and also too gory to actually pull off successfully. So, yeah, using that sort of idea in animation is perfect. And the whole idea of the menagerie there with the humans in the cage, I mean, yeah, that was just great. I just loved that whole sequence. And did anyone else spot the koala in one of the cages? So, yeah, perfect Lower Deck stuff there. The Rutherford arc, where he gets his own little nemesis, that was just a lot of fun, really, trying to get himself promoted, and then eventually discovering that he'd turned down promotion so many times because he wanted to stay with his friends. I mean, that is just so Rutherford, isn't it? That's just so Rutherford. I loved all that as well. The opening sequence with the Romulans, where they're all trying to out-suspicious and out-sneak each other, also great. I love that loving send-up of the Romulan culture there. That was wonderful. And it also continues what looks like it's going to be a season-long subplot, but it didn't actually interfere with the main plot, so it's just a little mystery they're leaving each episode, it seems. So, yeah, interesting to see where that one goes, but yeah, I just loved how they sent up the Romulans in that one. And, of course, my favourite bit about the whole episode was Boimler trying to find the perfect room to stay in. Yes, having a room between two holosuites does seem somewhat questionable, but my favourite thing, of course, was the fact that his first room is above the Passard Ramscoop, because, yes, I've always wondered about that. There are obviously rooms on the various starships that overlook very interesting parts of the starship, so, yeah, it was just really nice to see that actually realised for once. So, yeah, it's ridiculous, but also not that ridiculous, because that's exactly where some rooms are in Star Trek. We've just not ever seen it before. So, yeah, well done for them for actually going that far. So, yeah, love that. Love it all. So, yeah, a really great episode of this. Really funny moments. And Lower Decks once again doing what Lower Decks does best. So, as ever, I'll be looking forward to finding out what everyone else made of this. I hope everybody else is in better health than I am. And until next time, Moopsie.
Get well soon, sir.
Yeah, get well soon. I'm not ill, but I'm injured.
Yes. Everybody's in the walls at the moment.
Yeah. And yeah, I like that as well, that leotards are no longer gender specific. And yeah, it would be too gory for live action.
Yes, no, I was just thinking that watching it this evening, it's like, this is actually quite grim, isn't it?
It doesn't seem that
But it doesn't
way.
seem it because it's cartoon, but, you know.
Particularly the punching in the face and he's got a black eye and all his teeth have come out. That's...
For me, it was more Narge getting his bones munched. It was like, whoa!
Yeah. I mean, that as well, but...
I mean, if it hadn't been a Bananaman, I think it would have been far worse somehow,
yeah,
but there we go.
I'm still earworm. Don't know whether we can add that theme tune to the Spotify playlist.
Well, if it's on there, we will, I tell you.
But yeah, it would both the hitting Ransom and all the teeth coming out,
yeah,
and Moopsie attacking would have been far too
we
gory.
didn't mention, but when he gets called Gummy because you got your teeth.
Yeah, I love that.
And Marion actually calls him Gummy as well.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that, as you mentioned, there's an arc, but you get a story in every episode.
Yeah.
All right, you get a bit of an arc bit in there as well, but it's as well as rather than the Discovery instead of.
Yeah.
So your entire episode of Discovery is like, this is going nowhere. What's supposed to be happening here? Because it's just a tiny bit of a wider arc. Whereas this, you get an entire story plus a bit of a juicy dangler for what the arc's going to be, which I think is the right way of doing it.
Yeah, and the earlier days of New Who were like that.
Yes. They were, yes. I mean, the whole Bad Wolf thing.
Yeah.
You know, you still got the individual stories, but there was the Bad... I mean, that... Yeah. I don't think it's ever been done better than that in Doctor Who, to be honest, but let's not get started on that.
And yeah, Boimler's room is ridiculous, except
Yes.
if you look at the designs of the starship, it's
It
not. So I'm glad they went there.
Well, the design of the starship is ridiculous as well.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And yes, the Ransom is out to get Mariner from getting herself is lovely. I like that. Yeah. I didn't spot the koala.
No.
I don't think Memory Alpha did either. So there you are. You're doing even better than Memory Alpha, sir. And we've heard from the Purry.
Hello, Orgs. Purry here to talk about I Have No Bones But I Must Flee. And this is an episode I kind of forgot about, which is weird because I remember all the bits of it. I just didn't remember them all being in the same episode. Now, this episode kind of follows a quite tried and tested Lower Decks format, a bit of an alteration because Mariner and Boimler split apart. So Mariner's off on her own with Ransom, rather, and quite a fun other ensign. And Boimler's on his own trying to find quarters. And again, the Boimler quarters story is kind of just a fun little distraction. You know, the quarters. Surely someone must have like the glow from things like Bazaar collectors next to like their window, and it must be really annoying. Similarly, we have Rutherford trying to get his Lieutenant Junior grade rank. But you had his rival, the sudden rival, who's great fun. And the fact that he's trying to do just minor incremental increases is also, again, just some good humour on kind of his level of engineering and engineering in Cerritos. And they had that sort of weird tube thing. I always called it the multi-purpose gizmo. And the other guy put another tube on it, and still no one knows what the thing does. The Mariner one briefly annoyed me because now obviously we get to see the fun yoga uniforms from TNG, but this time in Shax and Ransom. But the Mariner plot, it was very much early Lower Decks Mariner, but it kind of made sense. I think initially the whole concept of her kind of playing up, I'm just being casual, and sort of her effects with trying to get demoted did seem like a revert type, but I actually quite liked the way that Ransom corrects her with his, no, you self-sabotage, so I'm not going to let it get to me, and that's what his half-heard thing was. So, yeah, that part was also quite fun. So, yeah, we had kind of three not really connected plots, just three plots running on. In some ways, you could argue all of them were the crew trying to come to terms with their new status as Lieutenant Junior grades, but that's about the only connection. And, of course, the Mariner plot, they're on a space zoo, and they've got to get some humans who accidentally got caught up. And I quite like the Moopsie being released, and indeed the start is to make you think that Mariner released it to be, just when she's playing up. But I quite like the twist that it was actually the humans who thought they were going to take over the zoo once the Moopsie gone. And the Moopsie itself was a fun idea, the cute creature that viciously drains your bones. And indeed, I quite like the solution of leaving a trail of Ransom's teeth, and the scene at the end where he's got kind of the big wonky teeth. So yeah, it's not like one of the most spectacular, though again, I'm amazed there's not more Moopsie plushies there. It's a merchandising gold mine, which I don't think we've really explored. But yeah, overall, this is a good solid. This is the sort of thing why you like Lower Decks. Lots of little things. Boimler's little action figure collection, and yes, the fact that he didn't know how to turn down the light from the Bazaar collector. That's quite a nice touch. It's setting up kind of the format of the season to come. So all that remains for me to say is do keep up the good work. I always look forward to the podcast, and I hope to be back to it soon. But until then, bye for now.
Bye.
Yeah, now you're pointing out that both Rutherford and whatever his name, the Nemesis, are trying to come up with really, it's really sort of incremental improvements, and that in itself is sort of daft and fun and very Rutherford. But don't we see that in Next Gen with Geordie? And
yes, as another engineer on another ship, isn't it?
Yeah, and they are really tiny little improvements.
Yeah.
But that's immediately what it made me think of when I heard you say that. Is that it's very Next Gen, actually, the idea that it's tiny little improvements that arguably ordinary people on the ship are going to notice no difference whatsoever. It's only engineers that are interested in these tiny little improvements. And yes, I think the thing that ties it all together is the crew trying to come to terms with their new status. So, for example, when Tendi gives that order to Rutherford.
Yes, that's lovely, that, isn't it? Her chest all goes up.
Yeah, it's like, I gave my first order. But also I really like Denty. The whole thing with Boimler having hit his head, and it's like, oh
why
yes. Denty, and then right at the end he hits his head again and makes another dent. Because clearly that's just him and what he's like. But
and I do love the fact we've had this progression. It was logical.
Yeah.
You know, we've already dissed Voyager enough. Let's move on. Yes, Moopsie plushies should be a thing. I'm amazed they aren't. But there we go. Perhaps Lower Decks isn't that well known. I don't know.
Well, they should be, Forbidden Planet should be full of them.
They should, yeah. Instead, it's all bloody Funko Pops, isn't it?
Or there'll be a
Moopsie Funko Pop. I would buy that, but it wouldn't look any different to a normal Moopsie, pretty much. So. Yeah. And yes, Boimler's action figure collection as well.
Yeah.
Is nice.
Yeah. And I love the way as well that one of them keeps falling off and he keeps put it back again.
He's just very precise about their positions, isn't he? He's that kind of fan.
Yeah. But aren't you precise about the ones on the mantelpiece in the dining room?
Not so much. I mean, although it does annoy me if they look like they're so on the wonk, they look like they're pissed. But yeah, we've got a load of the old. Now, who produced those action figures? They're really expensive now, unfortunately, on eBay, and I didn't quite get a complete set. So we're missing a Bashir, but...
It wasn't Playmates, was it?
Yeah, Playmates, that's it. Yeah, the Playmates Star Trek figures, which 10 years ago were going really cheaply on eBay, particularly if you weren't bothered about them being in the packaging. So I got a complete Next Gen set, and an almost complete Deep Space Nine set, and it does hurt me that... Never mind. Oh, and those red tubes, I just did a bit of a Google, and they originated in the Incredible Hulk TV series.
Wow.
Presumably part of Bruce Banner's... I said it was David Banner, wasn't it, in the Hulk TV series? That was a massive argument I had when I worked in a toy shop, and I worked with another geek. And he was, and this is before the days of mobile phones, we could look things up so easily. And we had this massive argument about whether it was Bruce or Dave Banner. And it's like, it's Bruce Banner. Everybody knows it's Bruce Banner. And he's like, no, it's Dave Banner, because he only knew it from the TV series. So anyway, that's a bit of a off the topic when it comes to this very important issue of these red tubes. Also, and here's a Trek connection, Airplane 2.
Oh, yeah.
With the leg end Shatner in that one. V, The Last Starfighter, which I really must watch again, although you reckon wasn't very good.
Nope.
So. Austin Powers, it appears in that.
Right.
They must have dusted it off for that one, unless they built some new ones especially. But yes. And yeah, practically every Trek ever, it has to be said. They're old friends. Right. Actually, probably appear in more episodes than Blue and Sulu. Somebody do the maths on that. Next up, next week, 25th of July, we are covering the Paradise Syndrome.
Oh,
good. Good of the original series, with some people playing the part of Native Americans who really shouldn't. But never mind. The story might just make you manage to care. I can't remember. I know Shatner thinks fondly of it, but that's not a great reference. And then the next Lower Decks, Tuesday the 30th, just before we go on holiday. Tuesday that week, because we're going on holiday later, is in the Cradle of Vexilon, which again, titles mean nothing until you actually watch the episode. Here's hoping it's as good as this one. Yeah. Thanks to everybody who's fed back.
Thank you.
Stay well, stay happy, and we'll catch you next time. Cheerio, bye.
Bye. The art for Borgcast Lower Decks is the fantastic work of Charlie Thorburn.
All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at borgcast.libsyn.com.
We have a Facebook group which you're welcome to join.
You can find the Borgcast playouts on Spotify for your listening pleasure.
Visit our Tumblr site at borgcast.tumblr.com, where you'll find images accompanying the episodes discussed in this cast.
Send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Shut it down!
Moopsie.